The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
The Attitude Era is widely considered by many as the greatest product the WWE has ever had. Now, relive the entire journey with exclusive commentary, insights, and episodic discussion with head writer Vince Russo.
I am Vince Russo, and if you're a first-time listener, today is the show with the title Raw, What Was It Good For? And basically what we do on this show is we look back at a week of the Attitude Era. Today we're going to be looking at July 8th, 1998. You can go to the WWE Network. You can watch this episode, and then you can listen to this podcast. Keep in mind, I was the head writer during the Attitude Era. So we like to go back and look at these shows and dissect them and give a perspective, from the writer, why we did the things that we did, what was going on behind the scenes. A lot of stories I guarantee you've never heard before. Let me bring on my co-host, Jeff Lane, because I have a lot to talk about.
July 6th, 1998, and this is from State College, Pennsylvania, the home of Penn State. One thing I noticed, and I think this actually started last episode and I kind of glossed over it, is every episode we've been doing to this point, Michael Cole and JR are the commentators for the first hour. Lawler would come out and replace Cole at the second hour. That is now done. It's JR and Lawler for the whole show. Do you remember Vince McMahon's decision process into why it was originally the other way and why he went to Lawler the first time at all?
That was never, bro. That was never a WWE decision. That was a USA Network decision. The idea of breaking the show into two shows was for advertising and sponsor purposes. So they would get people to sponsor hour one, and then they would get a whole different cast of sponsors for hour two. That was designed by the USA Network. That was never a WWE decision.
So why did that change here?
That I don't know, bro. I was not involved in that. I have no idea. We were just told we weren't doing it that way anymore. The business end of it wasn't my business, so I really don't know.
Well, obviously it worked out because, that allowed JR and Lawler to start really building their chemistry and get to the legendary status that they were. But this show opens with The Undertaker in ring demanding a title shot right now from Austin. So Austin comes out because he doesn't back down for a fight, but Vince McMahon interrupts and says that, he decides who's the number one contenders. So first off, if they want to fight each other, they can fight in the ring at the same time. They can do so at Fully Loaded, the next pay-per-view, but not the way they think. They are going to be on the same team, a tag team against Kane and Mankind at Fully Loaded. So that's the first piece of business. The second is tonight that he will announce who the number one contender is later in the show, and he salutes Austin with a middle finger for being the champion again.
Yeah, and I want to point out, listen, if you look at the format and the structure of any television show, and I know I've said this many times before, but again, we have a new audience here at Podcast One, might be listening for the first time. I'm giving you the nuts and bolts of how to write a successful show. And it was something I learned over years and years and years of doing it. Any successful television show, it doesn't matter what it is. It has a strong beginning, a strong middle, and then you pay it off at the end. That is the structure of any television show. I want you to watch throughout this show how Vince set the tone of what the story is at the beginning of the show. And this story will play itself out for the entire 2 hours rest of the show. Here, Vince sets the table in the very first segment. That theme is carried out through the entire rest of the show.
JR announces that DX has a big surprise for everyone later tonight. And we have our first match, which is actually the Brawl for All. and it's Savio Vega versus Brackus, who was hardly on TV. I remember the German thing that was done a while ago, but he's just kind of been absent. Vega wins on points. I saw an interesting YouTube interview with Savio Vega, and he made a couple points that I wanted to point out to you. He said that everybody got paid $5,000 for each Brawl for All match that they were in, whether they won or that they lost.
Not bad, not bad for 3 minutes, bro.
Yeah. And he also said about this particular fight with Brackus that he didn't understand at first that it was a legit fight. He thought it was gimmicked, and that after the match, Brackus wouldn't talk to him, and he soon quit the company after that. So I don't know if you remember anything dealing with Brackus as this particular match went. But Vega moves on here on points.
Yeah, Jeff, before we go forward, again, we have a new audience, and I want to explain this story. I want to give you the roots of the Brawl for All story, which might explain the JBL weekly cheap shots at Vince Russo on JBL Legends on the WWE Network. And you see, JBL, I just gave you a plug for that on Podcast 1. But if you notice, JBL goes on his Legends show every week and somehow, some way, figures out a way to take a shot at Vince Russo. Here's why. Let me give you the history behind that. I was backstage one day with Kevin Kelly and JBL, who was Bradshaw at the time. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't a big fan of JBL because I thought the guy was a bully. I thought he was a little bit of a blowhard. I thought he had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I wasn't a big fan. Well, while we're having a conversation one day, JBL makes the statement in front of me that if this were real and, like, you know, the WWE matches were bar fights, that he could take everybody on the roster. And as soon as he said that, my eyes lit up, my ears popped open, and I said, "Oh, really?" Next meeting at Vince McMahon's house creatively, I pitched this Brawl for All concept to see who really is the toughest guy in the WWF at the time. Vince went for it. And as we know, before this contest is over, JBL will get knocked silly and get knocked out in this contest, where he stated, not me, he stated, if these were barroom brawls, I would lay everybody out. So therefore, because he got laid out, he never forgot. That's why Vince Russo booked this. Therefore, 25 years later, the cheap shots at Vince Russo on every JBL Legend show. So there you have the backstory. The beautiful thing about this match, Jeff, look at last week compared to this week. Last week, the fans were booing. They didn't know what this was. They thought this was a work. I had to hide because I was like, my God, if Vince is hearing this crowd reaction, he's going to kill me. This was my idea. He's going to kill me. Bro, I am so happy for Savio Vega because out of the chute, he just started throwing bombs. And he was connecting with some of those bonds. And, bro, the fans did not have an opportunity to boo. Savio was landing these shots on Brackus's face, and the audience right there, right then knew, holy crap. Bro, you could tell if you listen to Lawler, he's starting to get excited about this because, I mean, these two guys were really brawling and landing punches. And I love, you know, JR's description of this was, you know, this is a unique experiment, for lack of a better term. But this is where it really started to take off, where the fans knew, holy crap, bro, this ain't no work. These guys are throwing. And you'll see in the match after this, Droz and Hawk are throwing just as well, but we'll cover that when we get to that match.
Do you remember anything on the Brackus situation, not understanding that it was a shoot and being upset with Savio?
Yeah, I don't remember any of that, Jeff. I really don't.
Next was Ken Shamrock versus Double J. We have Mabel returning to the WWF, attacks Shamrock, causes a DQ, takes off again through the crowd. After the commercial, Shamrock, in an interview with Michael Cole, challenges Mabel to meet him tonight.
Man,
Thoughts on the returning Mabel?
Well, before I get to that, bro, I got to tell you, man, when I go back and look at this match, bro, you talk about great workers. And I pointed something out last night, Jeff, when I did the Wrestling Inc. podcast, because, bro, it's like Kevin Owens is a great worker, great worker, great worker, great worker. Okay, bro. Last night, if you noticed, on his entrance, he was dragging his leg to the ring, selling the ladder match. Okay, Jeff? Jeff, as soon as Steen hit the bottom of the stairs, what did he do? He ran up the stairs. That's a great worker. That's a great worker. You're selling all the way to the ring. You get to the stairs and you sprint up the stairs. That's a great worker. No, Jeff Jarrett is a great worker. And what makes Shamrock great is here's an MMA guy that is able to go into this ring and hold his own with one of the best workers at the WWF at the time, Jeff Jarrett. These are great workers. Not a guy that's going to limp to the steps and then sprint up the steps. That's not a great worker. That's somebody who doesn't have a clue. I hate to break everybody's bubble. Bro, my highlight of this match, Mabel returning, my highlight of this match was Jerry Lawler quoting the very famous country and western song, "How can I miss you if you won't go away?"
Yeah, he's always pulling out those great titles when Jarrett and Tennessee Lee are out there. It's awesome.
Come up with a book of just those titles that he came up with. But yeah, bro, Mabel came back. We see. Oh, bro, you know what I loved about this match, Jeff? Did you notice Jeff Jarrett wasn't disqualified for outside interference? Do you notice that, bro?
I didn't notice that. What did they say?
They ring the bell. They stop the match. It was a no contest. How many guys, bro, get disqualified for things they had absolutely nothing to do with? I've always hated that in wrestling. Here, the match was stopped. It was ruled a no contest because obviously Jarrett had nothing to do with Mabel hitting the ring.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point, man. So we got that set up later, Mabel and Shamrock. JR quickly mentions that next week, the Outlaws are defending their titles against the number one contenders, Kane and Mankind, who won that number one contendership a few weeks back. Vader and Bradshaw is next. Kane and Mankind hit the ring, causing the match to be thrown out. They beat on Bradshaw and Vader to make a statement, about being the number one contender.
Yeah, exactly. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, Jeff, about keeping the story going. Here come Mankind. Here come Kane. They both want to be the number one contenders. Vince has said he's making an announcement later on in the night. By seeing them, the announcers get to talk about it, and that's how we build the anticipation towards the Vince McMahon announcement.
So next we have DOA with Paul Ellering, who swerved the LOD last week's episode versus the Headbangers. Mosh pours hot can of wax on himself and Thrasher. Ellering is on commentary, putting over what he did. DOA get the win, as they seem to be a different team now with Ellering controlling them.
Yeah, and this was also an opportunity to put Ellering on color, introduce him to an audience that might not have been familiar with him. I always liked Paul Ellering. I thought he was a great entertainer. I thought he was great with the Road Warriors. I think he did a tremendous job here on color. So it served the purpose that we were looking for.
Next is Terry Funk versus D-Lo. Godfather is with him. It's explained later why Godfather is the only member of the nation in the house. The announcers put over D-Lo's chest protector being a weapon. Godfather hits Funk with a gold chain behind the ref's back. D-Lo wins with the frog splash and the chest protector. Undertaker comes out now, a la Mankind and Kane earlier. He attacks D-Lo, Godfather, and then Terry Funk to make his statement about being the number one contender.
Well, before we get to that, Jeff, I want to point out this is a perfect example of how we tried to do something with everybody on the roster. Bro, D'Lo Brown would be an afterthought today. By giving him that chest protector, now you're giving him a gimmick. Now you're giving him at least something to work with. Throughout this match, the announcers are putting it over. D'Lo puts it over by using it in the finish. So I just want people to understand, even this little thing, this was a byproduct of character development. It didn't matter if you were D'Lo Brown or Stone Cold Steve Austin. We were attempting to give you that special little something just for you. Another thing I got to point out, though, Jeff, is, Terry Funk taking a moonsault at 55 years old. But, bro, it would have meant nothing if there were 97 moonsaults before it on the show, like there is this week. Let me point that out, like there is every week in today's wrestling. And, of course, here comes Taker. Let's keep the thread story. All three of these guys want to be named the #1 contender by Vince McMahon, so they're making a statement.
It's time for Vince to make the announcement. He calls out Mankind, Kane, and The Undertaker to join him in the ring, and he said that we're going to find out tonight who's the #1 contender, but they're going to compete in a triple threat match for the right to do that. So now we have our main event set, triple threat match for the #1 contender.
Beginning, here's your middle, and then we're going to pay it off at the end. And between the beginning and middle, we kept the story going. And between the middle and the end, we will keep this. Bro, that's writing 101, Jeff. I'm not a rocket scientist, bro. I'm not Hemingway. Bro, give me
it is. It's the 3-act structure. You see it in every movie.
Structure.
You see it in every television show.
Yeah, bro. So that's it. Here's your middle. Now Vince told you what the end's going to be. Are you changing the channel, bro? Are you tuning? Are you switching over to Teen Mom? Like I do every weekend at 8 o'clock. Thank God for Teen Mom on Mondays at 8 o'clock, Jeff. Thank God. Thank God for Janelle. Go ahead, bro.
Second Brawl for All match next, Hawk versus Draws. I like how the commentators put over these guys are friends, as we've seen throughout the past weeks. And the match ends in a draw on points. The only thing I was confused on, I don't think they made it clear, are they both eliminated, which I'm sure that they are, but I don't think we got that resolution at this point.
That's a great point, anyway. Bro. Very, very great point. Little detail. But, bro, I think when freaking Hawk got his nose busted open, right now everybody knows this is a shoot. The first week, bro, keep this in mind. With the reaction you got the first week, I could tell you, like in TNA, there would have been no week 2. Like, if Dixie Carter didn't get instant gratification, forget about it. So, bro, the fact that they crapped on it on week 1, here we are. This is the 4th match. Now they know it's a shoot. When Hawk got his nose busted, now they know it's a shoot. And, bro, let me tell you something. JR said that these matches are a sellout around the monitor. Absolutely true. When these matches were on, bro, the boys in the back stopped everything, and every one of them was standing around the monitors in the back. They were all so into this, bro, and watching it on the other side of the curtain was really something to see. But here we are, Jeff, 4 matches in. They know it's a shoot. And, bro, keep this in mind. They know it's a shoot now. They haven't seen Bart Gunn yet.
Right. And that's when it really gets good. And I remember that personally from watching this with my buddies in our dorm room. Like, when Bart Gunn established how good he was, anytime he came on, like, nobody was talking. We were glued to the screen just to see Bart. Next, we got Mark Mero and Jackie in the ring. Jackie talks for the first time since debuting with Mark. She takes full responsibility for Mero losing last week in the Brawl for All because she said the previous night they went 12 rounds and his tank was empty. Sable comes out at this point after Jackie takes a shot at Sable, said that when they were together, Mero's tire was just flat. They insult back and forth. Jackie challenges Sable to a bikini contest. Sable accepts. The announcers imply this will be at Fully Loaded.
Yeah, Jeff, the interesting thing about this that I thought was cool, bro, Jackie was not one of the better talkers. And Jackie was one of them that, bro, you had to script this entire promo for Jackie. So while I'm watching this for Jackie, I know she has this whole thing memorized. She's not ad-libbing anything. And that was impressive, because there was a lot to memorize. Bro, I love the little things. Again, things that I really feel are lost today. But when Jackie is dressing down Sable, Mero is behind her, jumping up and down, bro. Like, bro, it's like the 2 kids on the schoolyard. Yeah, get him, you know what I mean? I mean, Mero was so underrated as I go back and I watch these shows. But yeah, bro, I enjoyed, the hell out of Mero selling behind Jackie. Jackie did a phenomenal job memorizing this whole thing. And, you're setting up a bikini contest, bro. The days of the bikini contest and Sable with the handprints on a breast. I think we can agree that those days are long gone. Why? I have no idea, because, bro, I'm telling you, while Jackie's making the challenge, forget about Sable. I want to see Jackie in a bikini. You know, but I guess, bro, like in 2016, I guess guys don't want to see hot girls in bikinis anymore. I guess somewhere along the line, bro, maybe when we were playing with the beach balls, we lost our interest in hot, attractive women.
And then this is why they boo Eva Marie, in my opinion. They know they can't get girls that look that beautiful. Exactly. So they're booing them, you know, out of jealousy.
Exactly.
I had a quick question on this. With Mero losing in the Brawl for All, being a legitimate boxer, was this promo designed to kind of protect him from that, or was this strictly just for the storyline with Jackie and Sabre?
Bro, listen, Mero was not – he was not the favorites of upper management, so they were not doing anything to protect him. If anything, I wrote it myself because I was close with Mark. We had a really, really good relationship before he started working with the WWE. Bro, Mark was like my very first guest as Johnny B. Bad when I did Vicious Vincent's World of Wrestling back in 1991. So I've known Mark for a very long time. So, you know, bro, that's a good question. I probably did write some of that, even subconsciously, you know, wanting to protect Mark.
Next is Dustin Runnels versus Val Venis. We get a shot of Edge in the crowd. Kai and Tai attack Val after what happened last week with Yamaguchi's wife. He comes out with his wife, smiling and laughing. Kai and Tai holds Val. Yamaguchi gets a slap in, and JR puts over that Mrs. Yamaguchi could not keep her eyes off of Val.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to get to choppy PP so we could talk about that, bro.
That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed with this.
That should be coming up very shortly from the way things are looking.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, there's also a Val Venis film with him and Mrs. Yamaguchi that I know I will pop for when we see that. We get a shot at DX's locker room door before a commercial saying that they're next. Coming back from commercial, the Nation's music hits. Of course, this confuses JR. We quickly see it's DX coming out as the Nation. JR puts over, which I thought was important, Rock, Owen Hart, Mark Henry, not in the building. You know, that there has to be a reason why they're not going to come out and try to stop this. So I did like that. Before I get your thoughts, I just wanted to cover a couple quotes. I read about this particular segment from two people in it and see if you remember any of this as stated. But Jason Sensation, who, if anybody was unaware, played Owen Hart in this segment, he said that they wanted to sign me to a contract eventually, so they brought me into shows, and my first job on the road was to do Owen Hart. The way that Russo had wrote the promo was for me to be the stick man and do the impressions of each Nation member while each guy was dressed up. It was really a last-minute thing because Chyna didn't want to dress up as Owen Hart. She was like, I really don't want to. I think it's really out of character for me. I think it's better if I just stay myself. So they said, let's just make Jason Owen Hart, and you guys do the impressions yourself. So I was supposed to impersonate the whole Nation. It's funny how it was all a big last-minute change. It turned into something else. Do you remember that specifically?
I don't remember any of that, but I definitely believe Jason, and that's great insight on the part of Jason. But you know why I don't have a problem believing that whatsoever, bro? That basically is, me and Ed come up with this, and bro, I don't remember the original concept being Jason doing everything. I really don't. Maybe they discussed that as a group, but bro, here's the bottom line about this segment. Let me tell you this. This was a huge risk, and Ed Ferrara and myself knew this going in. These guys were either going to hit it out of the park or they were going to crap the bed. But what do I say all the time, Jeff, about wrestling? Risk equals reward. You have to take chances. So, bro, once we laid this out to them, and then Ed and I went our separate way, I'm sure collectively this is where they had these discussions. And, bro, here's the beauty. Here's the difference between then and now. Ed and I gave them 100% free reign. Here's the segment. This is what we have in mind. What do you guys want to do? And that's when they came back with us with what they had and what you saw. So I'm sure what Jason is talking about are the conversations that went on with the talent when the writers weren't there. By the time we got together with them, they told us what they had, what they were going to do, and we said, go do it.
And then I found this one was from a You Shoot Kayfabe Commentaries DVD with Sean Waltman. If anybody noticed, he made a comment about eating a SHIT sandwich during his Mark Henry impersonation. And he said in an interview that that was because previously someone had taken a dump in one of Mark Henry's subs and he ate it. That's according to Sean Waltman on Kayfabe Commentaries.
Well, I don't know about Mark Henry eating a sandwich, bro, but let's talk about this segment.
Let's do it, because I was just curious, is this was Jason's debut of how he came to be involved in this. You know, did you have him first? You needed to find a spot, or was it the other way around? We need somebody to do Owen. Let's
no. We knew he was around. We knew I knew he was around, and I knew he did Owen Hart. I still talk to Jason, but as a matter of fact, Jason had a heart attack like a month ago, and I've spoken to him since, and everything is okay now, thank God. Bro, I talk all about taking risk all the time, and Ed and I knew this is going to be great or this is going to be horrible. I can't say enough about every freaking talent doing this skit. Triple H stepping up as The Rock. I did not think he had that in him. The one thing, bro, that I love about this that stood out more than anything to me is literally, bro, Road Dogg got D-Lo over from this moment on going forward with his D-Lo imitation. When I was watching this, I am like freaking D-Lo owes Road Dogg a percentage of his paycheck every week. Road Dogg got D-Lo over as much as D-Lo had ever gotten himself over to this point before. He stole the show. That was 100% him. I'm crying while I'm watching this. Originally, I'm crying while I'm watching this today. These guys knocked this out of the park. And again, Jeff, I'm thinking about today's product. What 5 wrestlers have the personality today that they would be able to go out and do something like this, bro?
Not only that, I just feel like it's a lost art as well, the ability to get your opponent over.
Right. You're not even thinking about that, bro. Bro, listen, they're thinking about one thing. Getting their moves over. Getting their spots in. They're not even thinking about who they're wrestling. What Road Dogg did here for D-Lo, to this day, D-Lo should be giving him a percentage of his paycheck. Bro, I love, though, when this thing was over. Well, let's go real quickly, bro, through, Shamrock and Mabel. Mabel's, Shamrock gets the ankle lock in. He snaps the whole 9 yards. They got to send security and everything else, yada, yada, yada. Bro, here's my favorite part of this thing, and it was so subtle. Did you pick this up? Shamrock snaps. Everybody's got to go out there. They got to restore order. They got to get Shamrock out of there. So now they're getting Shamrock out. Now Vince McMahon is coming to the ring, okay? Now, Lawler can't wait to get Vince McMahon sitting on commentary, kiss up to the boss. Lawler's a heel. Mabel's trying to get up. Shamrock just ripped his ankle into a million pieces. So Sable's trying to get up. Here comes McMahon. Lawler's all excited McMahon's coming. And what is Lawler? Oh, here comes Vince. Here comes Vince. Tough luck, Mabel. And he goes right back to Vince, bro. But oh my God, bro, you talk about a guy that knows his character inside and out. The guy basically just had his ankle broken, and Lawler can't wait to kiss up to the boss, and he gives Mabel a tough luck, Mabel, which I thought was incredible.
Yeah, and you can't teach stuff like that. That's just natural ability and understanding how to do your job.
Yeah.
That's why he's considered arguably the greatest color man of all time.
Yep.
Vince is on commentary, like you said. Austin comes out. He joins commentary as well. So we have the triple threat main event, #1 contendership. The Undertaker, Mankind comes out. Kane comes out. Undertaker's music hits twice. He doesn't come out. This was my favorite part of the show. I popped so hard for this. Vince makes the ring announcer say that Undertaker is chicken shit. Dude, I loved it. I thought that was the greatest thing I've ever seen. So now Kane and Mankind have to wrestle one-on-one to determine the #1 contender. Now it's a no-holds-barred contest. Now it's pinfalls count anywhere. Mankind is sitting ringside, leaning up against the steel steps. He won't get in the ring, grabs a microphone, says he's given enough. He's not giving any more. He's not going to fight his friend Kane. Vince is furious, calls for the bell to start the match, instructs Kane to fight Mankind. Kane goes outside the ring, grabs a chair, plasters Mankind in the face, rolls him in the ring, gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. We're led to believe Kane is now the number one contender, but he rips off the mask. It's the Undertaker who just totally swerved Vince McMahon. Undertaker's number one contender, and I absolutely loved how it instantly went off the air. Like, you know, people are sitting there like, oh, crap, and this is what they're talking about the entire week. I love this, man.
Did you remember this finish?
I do after watching it, yes, but I forgot while I was watching it that this was the point when he was the
I had no clue, bro. I didn't know why Takeout didn't come out. I had no freaking clue. But Jeff, it's exactly what you said. It's Taker, we're off the air. Bro, the millions of questions you're asking yourself going into next week. You cannot miss next week's show. What were Undertaker and Kane in on this together? I mean, there's so much freaking intrigue. You saw the vision off the air. Just freaking brilliant, bro. Just absolutely, you know, brilliant.
How great of a job did The Undertaker do to not even give away the fact that it's not Kane? He looked exactly like Kane.
I did not have a clue, and I wrote this crap, bro.
Ratings for those that are watching for the first time. If I can find ratings information, I like to go over it. So, interestingly enough, with how great this show was, Nitro killed Raw this night. Raw got a 4.0. Nitro got a 4.8. First hour unopposed, Nitro got a 4.4. Second hour, Raw's first hour, Nitro won 4-5 to 3-6. The third hour, Nitro won 5-6 to 4-4. And this was the night where Goldberg wrestled Hogan for the title at the Georgia Dome, that big episode of Monday Nitro. That was this night.
Jeff, do you know, listen, I'm not a mathematician. I don't claim to be, but I'm sitting here and I'm adding up the 4.0 and the 4.8, and I'm getting an 8.8. That's the people that were watching Raw on, not Raw, wrestling on a Monday night. 8.8. It's 2.4 today, bro.
Yeah, and you look at the third hour, it adds up to 10.0.
Yeah, okay, bro, yeah. So that's 10.0 to 2.4. 7.6 are now watching the show on their phones. Just for the record.
Yeah, and I believe it was Raw wins the next 4 weeks. So a lot of people talk about how Nitro blew their load, so to speak, on this one night. They could have built this up, had a big pay-per-view with Goldberg and Hogan. Instead, they do it for free. They get it over in one night, and the ratings will show how that failed from this point on as we go on for the next month.
Yeah, so they didn't know how to follow it up. All right, everybody. Well, there you have it for Raw, what it was good for.